Well, what's going on? It's 5 o'clock. Yeah, still Thursday, the 1st of May, 2025. I guess this is going to be a letter over to Jesse Dollemore once more. Maybe send him a batch of this stuff over to him. All right, Jesse, we have an issue. Carvil. A long time ago, maybe back in the 80s and 90s, just as young as he was, Mr. Hogg, probably scared if my own school got shot up, and it didn't, thank God, but if it did, would I be turning out to be just like him and seeing how politics really worked? Because back then, Carvil was instrumental because he was among the old farts during those days and understanding the lay of the land. And the issue is he doesn't know the lay of the land right now. Except Republicans have to be beaten and they have to be won, and Democrats got to win. Democrats got to know what the hell they're dealing with and what the kind of candidates they're dealing with and what the enemy is. I mean, I think Carville just maybe he's not explaining it well enough for the young people or the younger generation to understand what's going on. Him dealing with the old farts, and that's the only thing he knows how to do is deal with the old farts that are retiring, are getting out of politics, leaving the youngsters over there doing the power trips. He wants the Democrats to win. Okay, fine. But does he know who and what he's dealing with? Oh, I heard him spouting off left to right on MSNBC or CNN once in a while or ABC because he is from the old guard. Biden's era, that would have understood him a great deal. But we're dealing with Trump and the Trumplicants, and the Trumplicants are a lot younger and a lot more power hungry. Did we ever see the Republican Party back in the 80s and 90s groveling that much more power? Maybe charging ahead in the 90s when you had Clinton, and then you had Bush Sr., actually Bush Jr. taking over, and then when all hell broke loose. And things had to have a little bit of an iron hand because we were at war. I'm not going to doubt his accomplishments, Carvil's. He's been to college, hadn't graduated. He'd served 2 years in the Marines, so it gives him a little bit more credibility there. He was stationed stateside at camp at Pendleton from '66 to '68. Of course, he got his degree in Bachelor of Science, General Studies. So basically, he was getting himself into politics, not into combat. And that's the only thing he knows how to do is politics. And all he's been doing is politics, one way or another. Smaller firms to larger firms. Senate race back in '84, he went after. Pennsylvania gubernatorial election back in '86. Kentucky, '87. Jersey, '88. Georgia gubernatorial, '90. Texas, '90. Pennsylvania, '91. He was involved in a lot of races. Here's something, Jess. Television show The West Wing. Ring a bell? Elements of the movie, actually elements of the television show play out in this guy's history. He was also instrumental in the mayor candidates we had for Katz trying to run for the '93 mayor slot. Didn't do too well. Somebody else got that one. But he was also with the 92 presidential Clinton. See, he's basically a political hack. He knows the territory. Fine. Knows the territory. And during those days, he was going against Democrats and Republicans. That's all I know. That's all this guy ever knew, is going after people. Of course, he already had his issues. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia of what they tracked on this guy. See, he's been in a situation where he's advising all the damn time. National, international. They got a hell of a resume on this guy. It was even a John Kerry 2004 election. Hillary Clinton's 2008. Didn't see him going for Obama, though. He was also on Fox News. See, all he is a political hack. And yes, he's got a lot of history on this one. He wants to beat the Republicans. Understandable. That's all he wants, is beating the Republicans. Because he doesn't like Republicans. I know. And here's the thing concerning about our political system. It's of compromise. I know it's one party rules them all, but we still need to have compromise of both parties to work, because that's how the political system of our government works. And yes, he's a pain in the ass. He's a pain in the ass. You did say he was back in his 90s, right? Well, back in 44, he was born in Georgia. Raging Cajun, they call him. The only thing he knows how to do is be a pain in the ass. And he's married to a Republican consultant. He'll say all the stuff necessary and probably be pissed off to the younger folks. One thing I understand about the younger folks, they see the mistakes we've made, but did they do the research thoroughly enough? Did they study the campaigns? I know Hogg's got some new ideas. I'm wondering if Carvil's up on his game regarding how to deal with the Republicans. This generation we've got. The older generation are dying off. But the younger generation, they're hungrier, greedier, egotistically driven. Worse. You mentioned something about Kevin McCarthy. Well, he was a ass kisser anyway. How many deals did he make to get the speakership? For barely a year. Barely one season. And then you have the current one who just snuck it in. Because McCarthy couldn't do the 1 year. Got backstabbed. Now we got Miller in there. So yeah. Been watching this stuff. There used to be television shows a long time ago where they could be talking about things in a civilized discourse. So the 70s and 90s. You ever heard of the McLaughlin Group? I remember them. Kid watching that stuff and they didn't understand what the hell they were talking about. Till I got older, and I was still trying to figure out what the hell they were talking about at the time in the first place. Even though when I took, politics or government, actually U.S. government in high school, they give you a little bit of a ground, but not what they're about, not the idea or ideology. You had to study these guys a great deal, see where they were coming from, what their heads were like. My mother, a long time ago, God rest her soul and God bless her soul, had signed up as a Republican, but she still voted Democrat. How? Well, because she wanted to get the Republican material just to read the damn shit, see what the hell we're talking about. But she was a lifer. She was a lifer Dem. When it came down for the general elections, she voted Dem. Primary, she avoided. So every time we had a president coming in, she'd be voting for it. We had a governor. If it was open, she'd vote. She'd vote Democrat all the way. But it's necessary to have a bit of a Republican point of view to understand where they're coming from. However, we have the Trumplicant point of view. We also have the Republican point of view, the Republican of old. And the Trumplicants are still trying to wipe that out. They're still trying to make sure that we get a authoritative regime going on. They want to kick out the Constitution. Everything for them and nothing for everybody. So I understand his drive of saying that the hell with the Republicans. He wants to beat them all because they're no damn good. They're conservatives. They called us Democrats conservatives a long time ago, and in one way they were right. Only problem is we had the Democrats of the South, the Dixiecrats they called them. They wanted to conserve, they wanted to maintain what they had. Slavery. No progress. Just maintain everything else the way it is. And the Whigs, we wanted to build. They were the Republicans at the time because they wanted to build a republic. They were for the republic. They were for the larger entity, not the individual states doing their own damn crap. One of the major issues why we had the Civil War. I said one of them. But things had changed. Where the Dixiecrats, the Democrats actually, were the ones progressive, and the Republicans just wanted to conserve everything. I'm hoping he understands that too. I think he does. But it's up to the young. It's up to the youth to get this kind of perspective. Well, they have to understand it. They can read about all the damn books, but they still have to ask questions about it. Why it happened. Back then, we could understand. But we got the younger Trumplicans and Republicans out there who don't give a shit about history. They're not for progressives. They're just in it up for themselves. So yes, maybe the leadership does need to have a course correction if they're still dealing with the Republican thinking of old. It's today that they have to worry about. It's this time's thinking. Dude, I'm 59, turning 60. Carver is about 20 years older, 21 years older than I am. So he was from the olden days, not as bloody or political as we got it right now, or ready to shock off everybody else's civil rights and the Constitution. At least they still had honor about the Constitution way back in the older generations, which he's used to. Hogg is seeing the one where we've got where the Republicans, the so-called Republicans, or are also Trumplicans, only care about themselves and getting rid of the Constitution. They want their own little empires. And the biggest Caesar that we've got going on is the idiot we all voted for in the office. Through the electoral college numbers, not through the populace. So Carvil can scream it out. We got to beat the Republicans. Which one? The Republicans of old are fading out and dropping out, or the new ones right now? Because they're sure as hell, he's got a strategy to deal with these assholes. Because if he doesn't, I'm flip-flopping between Hogg and Carvil on this one. They got to come together on this one. Because if they don't, we're both fucked. And so is everybody else. They put it in blunt language. That being said,